Hey, welcome back to the channel. Check this out. So we got some baby ducks and Canada geese this time. And some mallards too. I think those are the drakes there. Sorry guys, didn't mean to scare you away. So in this episode, we're gonna be jerking. Nope, we're not gonna be jerking any ducks. We're gonna be jerking chicken. So I'm gonna do a dry rub versus a wet rub, just to see if we can tell the difference between the flavor and the taste. So stay tuned. Welcome to the channel. In this episode, we are going to be seasoning jerk chicken. Now, I always get asked, what's better? Where do you get your better flavor from? The dry versus the wet. Now, I'm a wet rub guy. Part of the ingredients in the wet rub is Scotch bonnet pepper, thyme, a little bit of vinegar, allspice, orange juice. I mean, people throw things in there to bring up the flavor of it. You could onions, garlic. So that's what's in my wet rub that I like to utilize to season the chicken. The dry rub, they can be store-bought. I mean, you could get them at any grocery store these days in their international section. But for all intents and purposes, I have 3 dry rubs that I'm gonna mix together on the chicken and see what the difference is, you know, in flavor. So here we go. I've got 2 5-pound chickens that have been washed and cleaned very well. So take a look. I'm gonna flip it over just for a second. So I'm not here to clean chicken for you. You can clean chicken your own way. I like to get all the guts and stuff out of it. But for all intents and purposes, the chicken has been done with vinegar, salt, and baking soda, washed, soaked, and then just dried off. So these whole chickens are ready to receive the seasoning on them. So we're gonna start first with the wet rub. So what I do, and I use my gloves. So they're not really gloves, they're sandwich bags that I use. And because the pepper's so hot, if you do this with your bare hands, I would encourage you to wash your hands off immediately, or you can get that uncomfortable hot sensation from the Scotch bonnet pepper and the allspice that are in the jerk chicken seasoning. So this is my wet rub, so just grab a little bit of it from the bowl. And if you can see the texture of it right there, it's, you know, kind of brown, it's wet, it has that Scotch bonnet flavor. So I just kind of get it into the chicken, rub it all in. And all the parts, the bottom, I'm on the inside of the chicken now, and this is a pretty important part to soak because, you know, this is, if you're cooking it bone side down, which is where I like to start them at, you know, you get this major flavor that goes into it from bone side down. So I get it even on the tips of the drumsticks. I rub it all over, and the gloves are helpful. You get under the chicken wings, you know. You want that jerk to touch every part of the chicken so it soaks in and gives you that sweet jerk chicken flavor. A little bit of history on jerk chicken. It originated in Jamaica. I hear certain stories that they've been doing it for over 2,500 years there. The Arawak Indians, however, maroon style jerk chicken is one that I've had, and if you ever get a chance, check out Maroon Town in Jamaica. Some really cool things going on there if you get a chance to visit it. However, moving on, this is how you marinate wet rub on a jerk chicken. Out there, so that is a wet. I'm not gonna touch it. I'm gonna get a new set of sandwich bags to rub in the dry now. So with the dry, like I said, you can pick the dry up at any supermarket these days, like wherever you live. They have it in the international section. And I'm gonna use 3 different types of dry rub. I'm gonna use the Maggie's. I'm gonna use the Caribbean Sunshine. And I'm gonna use the Ocho Rios jerk seasoning. They all have different flavors. They come with different heat intensities. So like mild, medium, and hot. I like to just try them all. I don't have a specific type that I buy, so I just decided to get all three. You know, there's other ones out there. I think Grace makes one, and there's tons of stuff out there. They even sell wet rubs in the store as well. I think Walker's would make some. But as I indicated, the jerk chicken seasonings are available at your local. My last piece of chicken, this is a 5-pound jerk chicken that we're doing. And as you can see again, it's clean.
And this is your dry rub, right?
Yep, this is a dry rub.
So first you did the wet, now you're doing the dry.
Now we're doing the dry with the mitts. So I still like to use the mitts, and here's why. Because I can transition really quick to touching the seasoning, because we're not going to use all the seasoning. So let me bring this a little closer to show you how much I'm putting on it. So
the whole goal of this is to compare which one tastes better in the end?
Which one has better flavor, yeah.
Right.
So give it a little bit, drizzle it on. You know, I cook to sight, so I just put it on and then I rub it. Whoa, you can smell that, you know. So we're gonna add all three, the Maggie's, the Caribbean Sunshine, and the Ocho Rios jerk seasoning.
That chicken looks so laid back.
It is, it's just chilling, right? And then here's the sweet part about the transition. So I'm not getting anything on my spice containers. I gotta go back in the cupboard. I just transition really quickly to the sandwich bags and just start rubbing it into the chicken, you know, getting all the flavor in there. And you can really smell this one, the powder. The powder really gives a punch to the chicken.
So how long will you let these marinate for?
Anywhere from 36 to 48 hours. I get it. You know, that's a long process, but the way I learned was let it soak. So whenever you hear me say soak, that's let it season in Jamaican. So, you know, let it soak, man. Make it soak, make it soak. So get that going. And then I still need a little bit there. I mean, that just took it up. So if you look at this side, that's well seasoned. Let me get under the skin too with the breast.
So when I'm looking at it, it seems like the wet rub has a really dark color, while this one is not as dark.
Yeah, you're right. So the chicken, and a good observation. So you can kind of still see more of the chicken, but the granular nature of the dry rub soaks into the chicken and still, I believe, gives it the flavor. And in all intents and fair purposes, I have one more step to do to both pieces of chicken after I apply the dry rub, and I'll show you that in a minute. But add more of the seasoning, all three, just to be fair.
So do you add salt separately to this, or you just use this seasoning for the dry rub?
Let's do a little bit more of that. There's already salt in there, so we'll put the major ingredients up on the screen, like right there, and that's what's in there while I get this one prepared. So I'm going to put back on the sandwich bags that I use as gloves and just continue to rub the dry jerk seasoning into the bone side of the whole chicken, you know. And then I'm not going to cross-contaminate like this, although when they do get on the grill, they share the same flavors anyway, because I'm going to be cooking it at the same time for the comparison. However, one last step in the process, in order not to cross-contaminate, I'm going to use 2 different knives. So just to give you an idea, I'm back with the knife. And let me get one of the sandwich bags because I have to hold the side of the container. So once you've applied the seasoning, you want to take a knife and just pierce the chicken with the knife. That way you're opening up the flesh and you're allowing the seasoning just to soak even more into your meat. And this helps, believe you me, this adds an amazing flavor. So I'm gonna flip this around real quick. And then I'm gonna hit the breast, because the breast is the white meat. And typically, maybe you get leg quarters when you cook jerk chicken and they don't include the breast. Although, people have preferences with chicken. And in this house, when I make it, There are people that want white meat. There are people who want dark meat. I preferably like the dark meat, meaning the leg quarter.
I prefer the breast.
You prefer the breast. Okay, so yeah, you actually, so, you know, this ensures that the breast gets seasoned really well. So I'm gonna flip it over again, and there's your dry rub right there. So I'm gonna just wipe off the knife.
So do you chop up the wet rub?
Do I cut up the wet rub?
Yes.
What do you mean? Like cut it into
Jam
pieces?
it with the knife.
Yes, I'm gonna do the wet rub right now with the knife. So this is the last stage of it. Let me get that glove on. So again, let me get that out of the way. Let's switch that and move to this side. So again, with the knife, just get in there. Just, you know, make sure you hit every portion of it, and the wet goes through too. So because we want to be fair to this, I have to pierce both of them, but this is a part of my process as well. I am really a wet rub guy. It's just easier for me, and I enjoy making my own style of jerk seasoning. So that's my take, but I did get asked the question, and I didn't have the answer for it on why do you like wet rub? What's the difference between wet rub and what's the difference between dry rub? So that's a part of this experiment. Let me just jam it a little bit more. Make sure we get all that flavor in the breast for General B. And just take a look at that. That's the wet rub. This is the dry rub. This is Just a Rad Life. Stick around, because we're going to be making some jerk chicken on the pit.